Well, back from the dead, more like back from the high school football season. JP Flynn
Yeah.
joining us here on the Big Sky Breakdown. What's up, man? Good to see you. I haven't talked to you in a couple weeks. How you been?
Good, man. Good. Just catching up after the season ends, catching my breath, hanging out, doing a whole lot of nothing, getting back in the gym, you know, back in the gym with Carolyn and yeah, just catching up on some work too. Work kind of gets put on the back burner a little bit when football season's rolling. So
Yep. Well, good. Well, good to talk to you. It's that week. It's the week everybody looks forward to all year long. So, first of all, I'll start here. What is your most vivid memory of playing in the rivalry, and what is your best memory? And are those two things the same, or are they different?
that's probably a pretty tough question to ask. I would say I'm going to start with my favorite memory. Um, so my senior year, Chris Murray at quarterback, the kid's 18 years old. Shoot, he might have even been 17 at the time. I
I
don't
think
know.
he was seriously 17, man.
Yeah, he was so young. We had, four new starting offensive linemen that year. The rotation was mixed up all the time because guys were getting hurt. We go in there and we ran QB draw like I don't know, probably 15 times in the game. It was ridiculous. We only passed the ball 7 times. So, but we ran QB draw over the middle, and they were trying to spy. And Army had told me, Coach Armstrong had told me, he's like, "Hey, just spy the spy. They got that three down front, four down, whatever." He's like, "Just spy the spy. Wherever he goes, you go." And so, kids spying over the middle. We lock horns, and it's like I drive him like 5 yards, put him on his rear end. Chris makes his cut right off my tail, takes it to the crib. You know, However, it's probably like a 40-yard touchdown or something like that. That was probably my favorite memory. Um, and then my most vivid probably comes from that same game as well. We had, I don't remember if it was first and goal or second and goal on like the 2 yard line. And I was like signaling over to the sideline, and I was like trying to tell him, like, this sounds super conceited and it's kind of almost embarrassing to say, but I was like, run it behind me, run it behind me.
Sure.
That's what I kept saying. So they just called inside zone to the left and took the D tackle like 3 or 4 yards, and Chad walks into the end zone and then does the Conor McGregor walk off. And at first, and the reason why this is the most vivid is because I remember him doing that Conor McGregor walk and being like, "Dude, you didn't do anything. You're welcome." Yeah, that's like why it was vivid to me. Like I said, that sounds pretty conceited and that's really bad. I shouldn't, but it
Hey,
is what it is.
those are both great memories. That's such an interesting dynamic because you guys had a struggle season, but then you went out on a high note, and that sort of set the momentum for then the upward trajectory of the program, basically, after that. I mean, that win was such a signature benchmark for what Choate then ended up building, and then what Vegan has been able to continue to build off of. But I find also that such an interesting dynamic because it's been a while now when there was a true underdog in this game. Like both these teams, certainly there's been teams that are slightly favored or favored by a little bit, but both these teams have been pretty good basically since then. And I just wonder how much like that plays because I think you guys have an underdog mentality, but also kind of being able to go in there and say, hey, whatever you've seen from us all year, scrap it, right? Like we're gonna pull out all the stops. We're gonna run this offense that is nobody's ever seen before, really. We're gonna put it on the legs of this 17-year-old kid. It seemed like that was actually an advantage that day. It's kind of like an ambush. So I just
Yeah.
people keep asking like why are these games been blowouts lately? I think it's because the I think the away team just gets avalanched and they just melt, but they don't really have like that underdog mentality to sort of like go in there and shock the world.
It's so to me like there is no underdog anymore. And in all reality, there never has been an underdog in the story since
Right,
I've been
right,
around.
right, right.
Like it's and I remember listening to, Daenerys made a comment on some hype video one year, and it's like, when that 10th game comes around or 11th game comes around, you better win. It doesn't matter if you're 0-9 at the time, you better win that last game. And that is more the mentality, in my opinion, about this game. And it's for either side. It doesn't matter who's who. both sides feel like an immense amount of pressure to go out, perform, and win this football game because it does just mean more. And the old saying like nameless, faceless opponent, all that. Miss me with that. Okay, miss me with that. There is no nameless, faceless opponent this week. You know exactly who you're playing against. You know exactly what their face looks like. You know exactly what their name is. Right. And this week means more. It's a different week. It's a different game. And that's what makes it great. That's what makes this rivalry as spectacular as it is. It's the best rivalry in the United States. Maybe you could make a case for like, Army Navy or something like that. I don't want any other comment. There's no other comments you're going to hit me with that I believe is a better rivalry in this game. And if you have an opinion on a better rivalry in this game, come experience this rivalry and you'll understand that Michigan, Ohio State, that, none of them matter. None of them matter. None of them compare to what this game means because this is what Montana revolves around 365 days a year when it comes to the world of football.
Always just omnipresent, right? I mean, how often you probably think about it and talk about it all the time, still even in your adult life. I mean, it's crazy how much it dictates conversations in Montana, bragging rights in Montana, the operation of in-state recruiting in Montana. It trickles down to the high school football ranks. I mean, it's amazing. It really is amazing, like how it is like a day-to-day thing.
It is, and it's that, but that's what makes it so incredible and so much fun to be a part of. You know, consider myself lucky, and blessed to be able to have been a part of it. Obviously a kid from Iowa, I would have never even probably known about it. Maybe I would have caught it on ESPN or something like that at some point in time. But this game's spectacular, and it should be a good show on Saturday. I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah, for sure. That part's interesting too. Like you said, you're an out-of-state guy. I do think sometimes the fans make too much of that. Like, who do all the Montana guys play for? Who's got more Montana guys? I definitely think that having Montana guys that want to, play for something bigger than themselves and cement a legacy or, continue a streak or snap a streak or whatever, that plays. But also, like, by the time you're an upperclassman, like, you're like an honorary Montanan anyways, right? And look at you. You still live in Montana. So many of the guys from around the rivalry that came in from out of state, they make their homes in and around Bozeman, in and around Missoula. Yeah, so I always think that's an interesting comment when people think like, oh man, whoever has more Montana guys. I just don't know if that is necessarily as big of a factor as the fans want to think.
Yeah, I mean, and it does mean a lot to the Montana kids. I
For
think that,
sure.
and that's one thing that I always have said, is the both Montana and Montana State are built around a core group of kids from Montana. Now, you're going to have kids from out of state that play roles in, maybe it's bigger roles than Montana kids, but whatever. But the core group of these kids and the core group of these teams are the kids from Montana. And being a kid who's not from Montana, I'd like to consider myself more than a transplant at this point in time. I mean, good Lord, I branded the state of Montana on my back,
I mean, right.
at this
I mean,
point in
how
time.
old are you now? I mean, you've lived in Montana for like pretty much half your life now, right?
Yeah, since 2012,
Yeah, right.
so to me, it's an unbelievable place, and this rivalry really encompasses everything about the state, the love for the game, the love for the kids, the love for your hometown, putting on a show for your boys and your buddies and your family. It's just something special, and yeah, I think I agree with you in what you said, though. I agree with some of the like, it means more to the kids, the team that has more Montana kids. Not really, but I do believe that the core group of each team is built around, those kids from Montana, and the success of that team is typically based around that. Those guys are typically the captains, the leaders of the team. Not always, right? Just typically is all I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, and there is the factor too where we've seen some guys play way above their heads in this game too. Guys that were good players that were just Superman on that respective day, right? Like I remember Brock Coyle in Bozeman in 2013. I mean, he played out of his mind that day. Or
Yeah,
like
that was my
Josh
freshman
Hill.
year.
Yeah, Josh Hill in Bozeman 2019. I mean, he was, and Braden Cockle too. Both those guys, they went bananas that day. They were just partying on the pile. They were everywhere, you know. And then there's like the goal line stand in 2018 with all those Montana guys that stuffed it and forced the fumble on the goal line, and that was such a symbolic moment too, right? Because it was like Bobby Houck is back, and then he had to go face like the wall of Montana guys that Stitt didn't recruit, and it was like such
Right.
this crazy symbolic moment because it's Grant Collins and Chase Benson and Tucker Yates and You know,
Derek Marks
Derek
and
Marks and Conkle, they're all right there in the middle of that play. And that was such a crazy moment, too. So I do think that there is a lot of passion behind it for the Montana guys. But I think, like you're saying, there's a lot of passion behind it for all the guys that are going to play in this on both sides.
yeah, I mean, I would be lying if someone tried to come up and tell me that this game meant more to some other kid. Excuse me. Meant more to someone else because they were from Montana and I wasn't. I probably have like smacked him in the face and been like, "You're high." Like there's no way that this game means more to
Right.
anybody right now than me. Like that's.
Yeah.
But that's was in my nature, my competitive nature, and who I was, and especially after losing to him 3 years in a row, definitely didn't want to get blanked by him my senior year.
Bobcat Nation, we're so proud to have played for Montana State.
It wouldn't be where we are today without this program.
Now it's our turn to give back. Bobcat Collective is making a real difference for current and future athletes.
Montana State gave us a foundation to pursue our NFL dreams.
Join us in building something special because when we invest in our athletes, we invest in the future of Bobcat football. Go Cats.
Go Cats.
Go Cats.
Go Cats.
Join the collective today. Go Cats.
Shine Beer Sanctuary is leading the charge when it comes to promoting beer culture in Montana. Located at the corner of Church and Main and downtown Bozeman, the locally owned and operated tap house and bottle shop has the best beer selection in the Treasure State. The bar has 32 rotating beers on tap with everything from Duvel to local ciders, gluten-free beers, and non-alcoholic options. The bottle shop has more than 400 beer offerings from all over the world, and Shine offers Cicerone-trained beer guides. Come enjoy beer heaven at Shine Beer Sanctuary.
Valley's Restoration. Your view is our view, and what a beautiful view it is. We are proud to be locally owned, locally operated. We love our community here in Missoula and also the full 5 valleys that we do service. We give back to the community, we service our community. Our kids go to school here, we live here, we play here,
One
and we
thing
love
that
it.
was really accentuated when Dawson Ornstarf made the Miracle in Missoula documentary did you participate in that? I can't remember. I think were you in it?
No,
No, yeah,
I
because
was.
you had been done playing. That's right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I was an interview subject. I made a cameo in it, but anyways, he got so much in the locker room footage of Choate, and that like sort of became part of Choate's just like legend, right? Not only beating the Griz 4 times, but also having like some
Yeah.
inside look into like what Choate was
Oh,
like
dude.
on those weeks. But you were there for the first one, and that was the one that sort of set the stage for his 4 straight. Give us your best Choate story or your best, what Cat Week, what Grizz Week was like when Choate was head coach.
Oh man, there's so many of them. You mean you want just a Cat Grizz Week story or just a Choate story in general?
Just
That
either,
like,
I mean, either one. It seemed like a lot of those two things are one and the same a lot of times.
yeah, like well, my favorite one was him and I got into a pretty big pissing match week 1 of my senior year. In the story, we always started off practice with this period called red ball, which was just a one-word play. We're going to wrap off 10 plays, good versus good, starting O, starting D. It's going to wake everyone up. We're going to headbang right away. And we started off practice, and like the first play, I can't remember exactly who it was. Right guard missed the block. Second play, the center rolls a snapback, and everyone's jumping the offensive line. Gunner's back, dude. Come on, blah, 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 and then Tyler Brugman was playing quarterback. Oh, you got to get blah, blah. They're harping on the line. It's a young group, So Choate starts over red ball. Starts the whole thing over, like 3 plays in, and he's pissed. He's going at it. So the first play we call like an RPO. If we get man coverage outside, we're going to rip a fade down it, to Mitch Herbert. And Herbert's got him beat by a step. We overthrow the fade. So I turn around and I rip Brugman. I'm like, you better throw a football. If you're going to sit here and you're going to point fingers, you better sit here and you better make a play when your time comes. There's obviously a lot more to it, a lot different volume. The next play, quarterback running back exchange gets messed up. So I turn around and I jump down Gunner's throat. I'm like all up in his. I mean, I was pissed. Mainly because it's just a young group of offensive line. I felt like as the senior guy, like I had the responsibility to be protective of them. Like these were my guys. If something needs to be addressed, I'll address it, or Coach Armstrong will address it. And Army looks at me, he's like, hey, control what you can control. And I go up to him and I got my finger in his chest and I'm like, no, F that. I'm sick of this, you know, like it's always the offensive line's fault. Why don't we take some other owners? I'm going to call people out if they're going to call us out, blah, 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 blah. And Schultz gets in my face. He's like, don't you ever talk to a coach like that? And I'm poking him in his chest. I'll talk to whoever I want like that, you know, and I'm literally poking him in his chest.
It was
He
amazing.
wipes my hand down, you know, he beats my hand out of the way. He's like, who the hell do you think you are? And I chested him back. I'm like, who the hell do you think you are? You know, and I'm ready. I was ready to go to fisticuffs with the man. I was pissed. And like, you know, everyone broke us up. And he had this thing called Lover's Lane. So if you got in a fight at practice, you had to hold hands and walk back to the field house, back to the brick. And I remember I was still so pissed after practice. I'm holding his hand. He's giggling and laughing, you know, blowing it off. We got back to that field house. I ripped my hand out of his hand so fast. I was like, do not talk to me for the rest of the day. I'll come and talk to you tomorrow. And that was it. He like totally didn't say anything. I talked to him. I apologized the next day, you know, the whole nines. He is like, no, I actually like what you're doing. You know, he's like, but let's just go about it in a different way next time. You know, and I was like, yeah, you're probably right. That's my bad.
He's the type of coach though, and the type of guy where like most people just bow down to him because he's so intimidating. But like if you can have it in you to like stand up to him, like he loves that. Like he totally respects it, right?
Yeah, yeah, I think so. Him and I had a ton of respect for each other. That was
Yeah,
definitely not like I definitely was just it was the first week, man. It was right after fall camp,
right.
you
After a
know.
brutal
I
fall camp
was
too, right? It was so hard hitting.
yeah, dude, he murdered us and he was not me. I was coming off a knee surgery, so he's pretty light on me, but I was just pretty amped up trying to protect my guys, man, trying to have their back. That was all it was.
Tell us a Cat Grizz Choate story. Like what I know he used to bring guys in to talk to you guys and stuff like that. Do you remember those parts of
Yeah,
the prep?
yeah. He used to bring us in and talk to them or bring people in and talk to it, like guest speakers. Because he used to always bring in guest speakers, if
Right,
that's what
right.
you're referencing.
Yeah, yeah. Guest speakers and just like teach you about the history of all of it and stuff. Who's the best guest
Oh my
speaker?
he brought in a guest speaker. I don't remember his name. He was like he played like, you know, he was like the 50s, played for the Cats in the
Okay.
50s. And this guy has got to be like 95. And he opens up this, I'm sorry, this is gonna, you know, he opens up the speech with the quote. Says, I'd rather suck a dead dog's blank than be a Montana Grizzly. And he said it with like this, than be like this old, like almost adorable, you know, old man voice, you know, like kind of shaky and croaky, you know, I'd rather
Oh
suck
man.
a dead dog's to be a Montana Grizzly. And we were like, yeah, you know, the whole crowd got up and he rambled on for like 20 minutes, a whole bunch of nonsense that half of you couldn't understand.
Sure.
And Schultz finally steps in. He's like, "Oh yeah, there we go, great shot!" You know, the whole team got or went nuts. Oh, it was the best. It's the best. I don't have Instagram anymore, but I think I used that as an Instagram caption after the game too. That was a good one.
Do you think that that plays like just like the hype and the preparation in terms of just the understanding the magnitude and teaching the history, but also, just straight up, making you all sorts of crazed going in there? Does I mean that seemed like one of the Choate strategies? Is that a good strategy, or does it depend on the head coach?
So the one thing that I like, I'm a believer that not every game is the same, and it's hard to do, you know, because every team I think that you have is different. Um, and every team handles situations differently. Like, for example, last year's MSU team, how many seniors do they have on the team? Or how many like kids who have played in the game before, who've
Yeah.
been there? Like that's a team where it's like they know what they're walking into. You know, like they don't need any more hype. They don't need any more. But I mean, like for us, we're in a 3-game skid against them. We're playing them on the road. We're 3-7 at the time. It's like, no, this is a Super Bowl for us, literally. Like, and
Right.
we need to treat this like the Super Bowl. Like, there's no other excuses for it. And Schultz did such an outstanding job of doing that and understanding that this game is different. This game does mean more, and it doesn't matter. It didn't matter to him whether you were 3-7, needing to end a 3-game skid, and start, you know, momentum into next year. It was like that every year, and that's the way I like it. That's the way I would prefer it. You know, because it is. This is not the same as playing Portland State. This is not the same as, going to UC Davis. This is not the same as, in my time playing North Dakota or whoever. Like, this game means more. And I don't care what anyone says, it does. Treat it and own it and practice like it means more. Like, one thing that Cho used to always have the kids do was he'd have their kids athletic tape their helmet. And the kids that they were going against, they'd write stuff on it. They draw like a grizzly paw on it. They'd write stuff on it. And I remember like looking at a kid named Denver Crone's helmet and like actually wanting to fight him before we even stepped out on the field. And I'm not going to say what was on it because it was terrible. But I was like, oh my God, I'm actually going to kill this kid. Like, I want to rip his throat out of his neck right now. I am so mad. And he did that every year. And like I said, we didn't do that for any other week.
Right.
Like that was something like that. Like, the game means more. Don't try and hide that fact.
So what do you think then of the sort of that part of the narrative coming into this year's game? It's that Brett Vigen has been unbelievable. I mean, he's like 36-3 in the Big Sky Conference. You could count his all of his losses on two hands, and 3 of them are to NDSU in the playoffs, 2 of them are to South Dakota State, 3 of them are to FBS schools. The only real outliers are the 2 times that he's gone to Missoula, and certainly those were good Griz teams. But like 2021. That was, the Cats got upset. They were undefeated in conference play, and Montana got after them. And then 2023, the Cats had some stuff not go their way, and they had the loss in Idaho. They had all their kicking woes and all that. But more than anything, they just kind of melted when they were in Missoula. So this is a huge game for Vigen because it's like the only missing check mark on his resume, right? So what do you just think of that element for? Because it seems like this is, he comes to Missoula and wins this week. I mean, his resume is, you could argue he's the greatest Bobcat coach of all time at that point. The only other thing that'd be missing is to either beat NDSU, win a national championship, or both. Those 2 things probably go hand in hand at some point. But I mean, how much pressure do you think is on him coming into this thing?
I love what Vigen's done. I'm a big fan of Coach Vigen and the staffs that he's always put together. I think initially when he first came in, it was his first year here, and to be completely honest, I just don't think he knew what it meant. And that's, no fault to him.
Yeah.
Because I just don't think you can fully grasp what this rivalry means until you're a part of it. Like, you just can't, especially when you got to go there. Like that's a different place to play.
And you could tell just by talking to him too, right? I remember his first press conference before this week. And he's like, yeah, I love rivalries. I've been a part of rivalries throughout my whole life. I played at North Dakota State. We had rivals in North Dakota and South Dakota State and yada, yada, yada. And then after he'd been in this one, he's like, no, that's not the same.
Yeah,
he basically said, I was wrong. No, this is not the same. And I get it now, So I think you're right. I think the first time is maybe an outlier. And they also had a lot of internal turmoil, right? I mean, shoot, they basically benched their quarterback so hard he quit the team after they lost that game in 21. And then Tommy Mellott happens, and the rest is sort of history. So, but I agree with you. I think maybe they just underestimated it, right?
Yeah, I think so too. And when the thing is he's been to a lot of big, he's played in big games, he's coached in big games, he coached a big time program. So he just kind of thought, oh, it's another rivalry game. And like I said, I think his staff was kind of the same way. The staff was like brand new from top to bottom almost, and mine is really like Army, there wasn't a lot of turnover. There was a lot of turnover. There wasn't a lot of carryover. And so I just don't think that was fully grasped, in that whole thing. And to some, some coaches, this, like I said, this is just my difference of opinion. It doesn't, not to say one's wrong or one's right, but I do think a lot of guys go in and they think, nameless, faceless opponents, just another game, treat it like it's any other week. I just don't agree with that. That's just not what I believe in, and so, especially after doing that and seeing the way that Chode handled that week, like that's the way that I believe the week should be handled. It should be amplified. It should be chippy. It should be, there should be sparks flying every single day at practice. And so I'm not saying one way is right or wrong. Like I said, it's just an opinion of mine.
Life can change in an instant. If you've been hurt in an accident, suffered from medical negligence, or are facing criminal charges, you don't have to face it alone. At Ryan Miller & Coburn, we're here to listen and fight for you. We're your neighbors, traveling across Montana to stand by your side as your link to justice. Real people, real help, right here in Montana. Ryan Miller and Coburn, your Montana attorneys.
There's always a party in Montana, whether you're going to a wedding, a football game, a concert. Montana Party Bus can get you there safe and will take you anywhere in Montana. You can relax with friends in style, luxury, and safety. Western Montana based for local and regional travel within Montana borders. Montana Party Bus is great for both large and small groups with a capacity of up to 30 guests. If you want to elevate your event, call them anytime, 406-200-8096. You can also visit mtpartybus.com. Travel anywhere in Montana in style with the Montana Party Bus.
Yo, Tara, what up, E?
What's going on? Man, those are some nice medals.
Yeah, man, these are hard to come by.
Yeah, well, I've got 2 of them.
Well, that's nothing like going to March Madness, though.
We did go to a national championship.
Okay, guys, whatever. Let's just get on the Montana Party Bus and head over to Press Box for lunch.
Yeah.
Nuanez Now and Skyline Sports, covering Montana athletics and the Big Sky Conference better than anybody. The Montana Party Bus and the Press Box are also proud supporters of Montana athletes.
Hey, cheers to you guys, man. Cheers to Montana. Cheers to chasing more
I think
champions.
it's certainly settled in on with him, no doubt. And there's also a lot of pressure on the other head coach in this game because Bobby Houck was, sort of the master of this rivalry and won it in resounding fashion. Each of the last 4 times he coached in his first tenure, but then he comes back, and I think it was sort of a rude awakening for him to lose on the goal line stand in Missoula year 1 and then get absolutely boat raced in year 2 in Bozeman. But then they had the whole, basically 2 years worth of preparation to get back at it in 21. But on Saturday, he wins. He stays above 500 against Montana State. He loses back to 500. That's pretty crazy, given the run of success he had to sort of set himself up so many games above 500 in the rivalry. So I think there's pressure on Bobby Houck as well.
Yeah, because what was he previous?
He
before
was 5-2 the first time around. He lost his very first one. Basically, Kramer kicked his ass in Bozeman twice, in 2003 and 2005. And then after that, when Kramer was out and Ash took over, then Bobby just run roughshod over him.
Yeah, because it was 5-2. Now he's 2-4, right?
Correct. Yeah. So 7-6 overall.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So there's pressure on Houck too.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think both these teams coming in are very, very good football teams. It's going to be, everyone makes the comment of, well, who have the Griz played? I'm like, yeah, I mean, I can kind of agree with that. Yet they're still 11-0. They haven't lost a game yet. I don't really care. You're playing in the Big Sky Conference. So at the end of the day, you still have 9 conference football games. And that's not like a walk in the park.
For sure.
And no matter what. And, everyone kind of, they'll make the comment here, well, they didn't beat Eastern by enough, or they didn't do this by enough. And it's like, okay, who cares? They won the football game. They can go back and fix anything. To me, there's one battle that's going to be very interesting to watch. And it's going to be in the trenches for me. I think that the offensive line for the Griz is pretty solid. An experienced group that has a lot of starts under their belt. They get to play at home. And then I would say the front 8 of Montana State, with how many guys they have on their defensive line, is going to be a very, very interesting battle up front. And I think that could be really where the game flips one way or another. How well can the Griz protect Ayak? Because when he has time, not even necessarily time to throw the football, time to put a game plan together, and whether it's escape, throw the ball on the run, whatever, he's he a lightning in a bottle, right? I mean, he is a good football player. God, I remember saying that about him last year. We watched nearly all the Griz. We watched the Griz.
You texted me and you're like, why are they messing around and playing both? Just play Ayat, man.
Oh my God. I texted you that last year.
Yeah, you did. And I was beating the drum on that too, man, because he's nasty. His sack evasion is as good as anybody I've ever seen.
Oh, he's like the FCS version of Caleb Williams, man. I mean, he is a scatty little kid back there who can sling the ball, and he just looks like he's having fun all the time to me. I mean, he's just And when you have a quarterback that's back there and he is not afraid to lose a game, that's a dangerous thing.
Yeah,
that's a dangerous thing. And I mean, as a coach, that can make you want to pull your hair out at times, I'm sure. But as a fan and a viewer, I'm thinking to myself, you got this kid, like watching the Idaho State game. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, why in the world would he make that throw? Kid came down with it, he's just fearless. He is fearless.
That's an interesting narrative too, right? Because Ayat's been around, and obviously his dad played for the Griz. He's been on the team for 3 years, so he's certainly has seen this game up close and personal. Hasn't really got very many reps in it, but he's seen it and he's been a part of it. He's been a part of the prep. Justin Lamson has not, but I don't know if that's an advantage or a disadvantage. Sometimes what you don't know can't kill you, right? And I've been so impressed with Lamson, man. Talk about like tough shoes to fill. You got to come in and I mean, not only is Tommy Mellott nasty, he also is like one of the most beloved people in the history of Montana State University. So, and Lamson hasn't missed a beat, man. I mean, they have gotten as good, if not better, of quarterback play in certain elements so far this year. So, I mean, what do you think of him making his first rivalry start?
I like him a lot. I like the way he delivers the football. I like the way he runs the football. He's a very tough runner. The one thing that does kind of scare me, especially with the way the Griz run that 3-3 stack, is they're a very high pressure football team. And the one question mark I have about Lamson is how he handles pressure.
Yeah.
There's been games like the NAU game, I thought he did pretty well. And then there's been some games throughout the season where I'm like, okay, this could be scary. This could be a situation where things can get a little dicey, cause an unforced turnover, let the Griz get an extra possession. And when you got an offense as explosive as the Griz and you give them an extra possession, it's not probably going to go in your favor. Yeah. So I'll be interested to see what he does. I like him. Right. I like him, but my question will be, how does he, between him and the offensive line, obviously, right? I think the Cats have usually had a pretty good game plan for picking up pressure against these guys over the past few years. But that's going to be, from on the flip side of what I just said, right? The Griz O-line versus the Cat D-line. On the offensive side of the ball for the Cats, to me, it's going to be how does Lamson handle the pressure that we know that they're going to bring?
Yeah, because this year, the Griz they're average on the defensive line, and I think their interior guys are even below average for what you need that nose to be in that defense. Like if you got an elite guy there, you can be elite on defense no matter what your other personnel is. That's what they had a couple of years ago with Governor.
Governor was a freak.
I mean, he's a freak, man. He's one of the best players I've ever covered. But now they don't have that. And so this year they've gotten a ton of pressure, but it's because they have to light you up. I mean, they're bringing 6 and 7 all the time.
Oh yeah, they're not afraid to go zero. Like that's
right. Like I was trying to explain that to people because people kept saying after the Griz went down the wire with Idaho State and they ended up winning. People were saying, well, why the Griz pass coverage sucks so bad? Why? And I was like, man, they're running zero coverage on the outside against a team that goes 4 wide all day. Like this guy's playing 7-on-5. All he's got to do is catch the ball and throw it. Like that's it. There's no like Deion Sanders and Darrell Revis can't play coverage well enough to not have the slot guy be wide open when you're blitzing 6 guys. It's just it's a numbers game. So I'm so interested in that, right? If the Griz are willing to go and just light it up and blitz 75% of the time, there's an opportunity there for Lamson to go crazy. I mean, he might complete like 25, 30 passes if that's the way that they decide to go.
Yeah, no, it could. The Cats have gotten into a lot more RPO stuff. They've always had, kind of dipped their toe into it from what I watched, but a lot of it was because we wanted Tommy to run the football, right?
Right.
And so now I think it's kind of the opposite, right? We are truly going to hand the ball off, or we're going to throw the ball to whatever space we're vacating against, whoever we're reading. And so if you want to heat up and add that amount of pressure, you can get bit pretty quickly. A simple 6-yard pass can go for a massive explosive of 30 plus, on the drop of a hat. So we'll see what their game plan is. I am excited, that defense feeds off that crowd, and if things start to spiral, you got to find a way to quiet them down in a hurry, or that place just gets out of control and it's almost like you can't, cage the beast again now that you've let it out.
Yeah, how important is that part? This the start.
Well, I don't necessarily know how important the start of the game is offensively.
Sure.
Right. If you can keep their offense at bay,
right,
as long as you keep the game close, you'll keep the crowd within reason, right? The crowd's still going to be loud. The crowd's
Sure,
still going to have a good time. They got their Twinkie boxes where they're chucking all over the place and, all that stuff. But when it comes down to it, the minute the things start to get out of hand, right? It's 14-0, in the first half or something like that. That's where I get concerned. That's when things, because there, it's a tough place. But this isn't the Eastern game, right? This isn't like I said, this game is different. Okay, like this isn't a game where the fans are going to leave at half because it's 28-9 or something like that. They're coming back after halftime regardless of the score. And if things are going their way, they're going to light the world on fire. If they're not going their way, things are going to get ugly in a hurry. So if you can keep, like I said, you can keep them at bay, it does help. You can get an early score. That obviously makes a big difference, right? Going to halftime, keep it a one possession plus or minus either way, 2 possessions plus or minus either way. You're usually in pretty good shape, and you can find a way to compete in the second half or win in the second half, depending on if you're on the bottom side or the top side of that.
Meeting her stopped your world. The ring you give her should stop her heart.
Tina, will you marry me?
Not again! Don't worry, I'm gonna fix this. Because we want to be your jeweler on our beautiful diamond! Clear! Come back to me, Tina!
Are you okay?
Cash One Pawn, Missoula's #1 pawn shop.
You want money? We got money. You need money? We got money. We're cash.
Do yourself a favor and make Cash One Pawn part of your online shopping habits. Cash One Pawn has an awesome online inventory, everything from firearms to power tools to speaker equipment to jewelry. Visit Cash One Pawn today.
Cash One Pawn.
8720 Roller Coaster Road, CashOnePawn.com.
Yep. And when the plays are there, you got to make them too, right? Like 23.
Yeah, you're not getting multiple times.
Like 23, Montana State smacked Clifton McDowell early. He fumbles, but then the Griz get it back, and then they continue to march, and they scored on that drive, and that was such a missed opportunity. I thought the 2 places the Cats lost toe in the rope, so to speak, was when they didn't recover that fumble early, and then when they came, the Griz were up 17-0 at halftime, but the Cats got the ball right out of half, and they marched down the field, had a nice drive, and they scored. 17-7, okay, you can manage that. But then they gave up like that 60-yard kick return right away. And then Bergen scored a 30-yard touchdown 2 plays later. And then it's 27-7, and it's off to the races, and they never could recover from that. So those little momentums turn into big momentums.
Yeah, the missed opportunities are huge in this game. You can't take a play for granted. You never know when the ball is going to come your way. You got to make the most out of every chance you get, because you're not getting another one if it doesn't pan out the way that you want it to.
Okay, anything else to add on this current matchup before we get to your list? I know you did some prep.
No, my list is legit. I have a real list.
Let's go. This is for those who haven't been following along. It's an answer to Andrew Schmidt, our class clown.
No, it's a good. I like my list.
Great, I'm into it. So
I truly like the people on my list.
Okay, I'm ready.
Let's say that full board. But I mean, other than that, in this game, I really like the matchup in general. Right, offensively, the Griz have an electric quarterback, a crazy playmaker outside. Also plays wildcat quarterback, running back, and then a running back who is as good as it gets. Right. Defensively, what the Cats are doing is outstanding, for a lack of better terms. Like this, trying to keep that lightning in the bottle for them is going to be a tough ask, right? They're going to make their plays. They're going to, I'm sure they'll put up some points. But keeping them at bay and keeping them under wraps is something that I think that the Cats can do. And I think that's going to be the fun matchup, in my opinion. On the other side of the football, the Cats have kind of had their ups and downs on the offensive side this year. They've started slow, they started fast, they've come out, they've put up 50 points, they've come out, they've put up 30 points. They've had this kind of roller coaster ride of inconsistency on the offensive side, but I think I could kind of say the same thing for the Griz on the defensive side, almost like what you were saying. I don't use as vulgar terms as you do, saying like sub-average and stuff like that. But, I think I do think the Cats have the edge up front offensively. But they got some linebackers who can make some plays. And due to the way that their defense creates so much havoc, and a lot of times guys are out of gaps, but guys just make plays, right? Because, there's so many. Two guys are rolling through the A gap. I mean, the center can only pick up one of them, right?
Yeah.
Or the guard can only pick up one of them, right? And some guy's free and makes a play. That wing kid at linebacker's a freak. I like the way that he flies around, the way that he plays the game. So that's going to be, I think the Griz offense, Cat defense is going to be the fun matchup to watch. And then the Cat offense versus the Griz defense is going to be the interesting one to watch to see who comes out on top.
Yeah, I think that's really good because obviously the Griz offense, Cat defense is the headlining matchup. That's the one that's getting all the talking points and all the pub and all that. And it's the easiest one to point to, right? Because the Griz are so offensive centric. I mean, for the first time in 20 years, probably, where they're leaning on their offense and they're trying to outscore people. Which you know what? Good for them. Because if you have a quarterback like Ayat, you have to let him cook, man. You have to. And so good job by them. But I agree with you. I think that it's as key of a matchup, though, on the other side. Because there's a part of me that thinks that the pressure will be hard for Lamson to deal with. There's also a part of me that thinks the Lamson might just completely dice them apart. And
good. Yeah. That's the up in the air question to me, right? Is what is that matchup going to look like? Who's going to handle the situation better? Who's going to react better when things don't go their way? Yeah, that's really, to me, that's going to be interesting to see how it plays out on Saturday.
Yeah, because and the last part worth noting is the Griz are so banged up on the back end. They got a couple freshmen who I hardly even heard of, on the 2 deep this week, right? So, if the Cats are running their 3 and 4 wide sets, they're going to move Taco Dowler around a bunch. That's going to create mismatches, and I think Montana's number 1 corner, Kenzel Lawler, would have a hard time guarding Taco, let alone if some freshman or sophomore that's never played in a game really is out there, because Taco will break you out. But that's not to mention Jabez Woods and Dane Steele. It's funny because the Cats still do run the rock first and foremost, right? But their receivers are nasty. It's the deepest group of receivers they've had in a long time.
Absolutely. Well, I can't imagine a receiver wanting to come and play for MSU in years past. I threw the ball 8 times a game, So
I was asking Chris Long that. I was like, bro, you're from Philadelphia and you played in the Big Ten. Why did you choose Montana State? I was like, no offense. I know. He's like, well, I wanted to go on a venture. I wanted to go somewhere I'd never been before, and I wanted to win. I said, well, good. If that's what you wanted, great for you. Because if you wanted the rock, it's a tough place to come, especially given the sample size of what's gone down the last 7 or 8 years.
Yeah, and Sturbick's got a different mindset. I think Sturbick. I do think he wants to throw the ball a little bit more, have a more balanced attack, which there's nothing wrong with. I think he's done a great job, installing that and executing it and getting the kids to play and play fast and execute at a high level. So, doesn't matter to me at all. Obviously, I probably am a little bit more lenient to the running the ball 55 times a game, but I think that's just personality more than anything.
It also broke our brains with how prolific they were rushing the ball the last several years, right? They're only averaging 245 yards a game on the ground, but it's that would be an amazing number if you just average 350. Should they have 3 1,200-yard rushers last year? That's nuts, man.
It's actually insane to think.
Right? And Julius Davis wasn't one of them. That's even crazier to think, right? Scottrey went for 1,700. Adam Jones went for 1,200. And Malat was well over 1,000 by the time the playoff run was done. So, yeah,
crazy.
We got to sort of readjust what a good run game is, because I just, to me, my opinion, but to me, Tommy Malat's the greatest running quarterback in the history of the FCS. So,
pretty good.
Yeah, so I don't really know how you replace it. Think about how many great running backs have been in MSU. Tommy Malat's the second all-time leading rusher in the history of the school.
Not shocked.
Right? So,
not shocked.
Yeah, so it's a hard production.
1959, at Street's Grocery in Whitefish, Montana's special spice was born. Alpine Touch. It's the taste you grew up with, well seasoned through the test of time. As the tradition carries from one Montana generation to the next. From its humble beginnings to a trusted brand, here's to the next 60 years. Alpine Touch. Montana's special spice since 1959.
Town Pump's Pump It Up Rewards Plus program and never pay full price for fuel again. Save 5 cents on every gallon every day at any town pump across Montana.
Plus, earn and redeem points on your favorite in-store items to get free stuff with our clubs.
Stop in and pick up a rewards card. Download the Pump It Up Rewards Plus app today.
Or visit townpump.com/rewards to register and start saving.
Right down the road. Pump it up. Oh, yeah.
All right, give us your top 5 Griz of all time.
I'll start with the honorable mentions because I've met Tim Houck now, and he is a very good person.
Yep.
Of a football player. He's kind of a freak too. He's like in great shape. I'm like, dude, you got it together, man.
Right?
And he's real good to our staff over at Gallatin High.
Yeah.
So I got to go Tim Houck, but I just don't know him that well.
Sure.
Okay. Probably going to get a lot of slack from Cat fans, but it's hard for me not to admit that Monty is an impressive mascot. He's definitely deserves to be on the honorable mention lists, like without a doubt. To me, dude's real good. Now, getting into my top 5, I'm going to start with Brock Coyle. Not only was Brock a very, very good football player, he was also my locker mate in San Francisco.
That's right. Yeah.
So we had lockers next to him. Next to him was Kendrick Bourne, which was kind of funny, a little Big Sky trio there. But Brock and I became, pretty close over those, that cup of coffee that I had while I was there. So I got to give Brock a pretty big shout out. Number 4 for me is actually the Boucher family. I don't know if you know the Boucher. Remember Mike Boucher? Obviously,
I do, yeah.
Yeah. So Mike probably doesn't know me that well, but I went to college with his son, and I will never forget watching him, and I didn't know him at the time, but drop his son off at MSU because his name is Alec at the time, wanted to be an engineer. So he came to MSU, and I just remember how disgusted he looked, but at the same time was super respectful. And I talked to him briefly and for a while. So I thought the Boucher family was real classy.
Yeah, great family. The Alex grandpa, Mike's dad, he was the president of First Security Bank forever, and he was one of the original Griz boosters.
Boosters, they're big Griz fans.
Boosters have only really been a thing in Montana for 40 years, because everybody was like, "Oh, it's small school football, whatever. We don't need any resources." But then, once Washington Grizzly got built, then okay, now we get a little bit of an arms race. But Bill Boucher was one of the guys that was sort of driving that forward. He's a good guy in the community too.
Great guy. Number 3 for me is Zach Peavy. So
good one.
I don't know. Yeah. So Worm's what we call him. Zach Peavy. He's a great dude, man. Great dude. I actually don't know if there's a bigger Griz fan on the planet than Zach Peavy. He works in the facilities there. Dude absolutely eats, sleeps, breathes Griz everything, and especially Griz football. So I got to give a shout out to him. Great human being, represents the brand well for them. So shout out to Zach. Number 2, I feel like I would do a disservice if I didn't say Brooks and Colter Nuanez.
Wow, look at this.
Yep. Got to give a shout out to the boys. But my number 1, it's recently inducted into the Montana Hall of Fame. A little bit of a throwback here is Matt Clark.
Oh, good one. Yeah, because Matt's a Gallatin coach, right?
Matt's a Gallatin. Well, he helps us out. He's a golf coach. He helps us out once he's done with the golf season.
Yeah.
One of my favorite people that I've been lucky enough to meet and experience and have some, spend some time with. Good times, bad times, everything in between. Dude's like a brother for life to me now. He wears his Griz stuff all the time, and every time he wears it, I'm like, why are you wearing that stupid shirt around me? And I wear my cat stuff, and he goes, why are you wearing that stupid shirt around me? We just have this good back and forth little thing. It's like he's a much older brother than me, but I love the dude to death. I got to give him a number 1 shout out for my favorite Grizzly that I know.
I loved getting to know about Matt Clark through our Montana Football Hall of Fame project. Because I'm the editor of all the bios, so reading his bio, it's funny because my family moved to Missoula when I was a little kid, but it was 1993. So Matt had been done playing, so I have this gap in my historical knowledge about those late '80s Griz teams, but he was a great player on those late 80s Griz teams. I think he even caught some passes from Grady Bennett, the Glacier coach.
He did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when he was the quarterback for the Griz. But Matt told a great story in his Montana Football Hall of Fame induction about when he was like best friends with Doug Flutie for a moment in time
Yeah.
when Flutie was like
Yeah.
tearing up in the CFL. And he was
Yep.
talking about how like Flutie used, he got the big signing bonus, so he bought a convertible and they were like driving around and they just thought they were big shots. And it was just pretty funny listening to him, tell glory days stories about the Heisman Trophy winner from when they were playing up in Canada.
Yeah, he's just a good dude, man.
Yeah, he's
Like, you
great.
ever get a chance to like sit down and hang out with Matt Clark, jump at the opportunity. I promise you won't regret it.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Well, anything else to add on this before we let you go?
No, man, go Cats. I'm excited. I'm excited to watch the Cats play on Saturday. We're gonna be over there, gonna be in town. We're shipping out tomorrow. So I don't know if we'll go into the game. I have a ticket in the Cats section.
Nice.
The past 2 times I've gone over there, things haven't gone well. And the last 2 times I've gone over there, I've sat in the north end zone and I've left at halftime. So
That's a bold move, man.
yeah. I mean, there was one time I like caught a Twinkie after they scored. You know how they do the little Twinkie toss thing?
Oh yeah.
I was so frustrated. I like caught a Twinkie and I just like crushed it and I threw it on the ground. I just sat there and kept my eyes forward the whole time. Just, people were yelling at me. I just kept my eyes forward the whole time. And I looked at Carolyn. I was like, hey, I got to go.
I gotta get out of here.
She's like, you're my ride home. I was like, your whole family's here. You can find a ride. I was like, bolted out of there before I got into, some sort of trouble.
Totally. Well, for everybody watching on either side of the rivalry, keep it clean, keep it classy. I know there's a lot of stuff behind this, but let's be cordial to each other. And
Hey, I agree with this 100%.
Yeah.
I actually, believe this or not, I got a shout out on eGriz.
Let's go.
Yeah, believe that. There was one. The game was at MSU. It was the year, I can't remember what year exactly, if it was 22 when the Cats won by that massive margin.
Yep.
And there was like this. So I was with the kids. They're all Griz fans, right? I'm the one Cat fan. And behind us, there was this like older couple. And then behind them, there were these drunk, probably like mid-30s, late 40 guys. And the Cats were running it up on them. And they were, shaking their milk cartons in her face. This old, she had to have been like 70. And I finally like turned around and I kind of grabbed the milk carton from me. I was like, hey, buddy, let's knock it off here. Okay, let's beat it. And then that lady went on the eGriz and gave me a shout out. So,
nice. Heck yeah.
Yeah. Doc, talk about a toot to my own horn right there. All right.
Hey, you made it. When you get good feedback on eGriz, you know you made it.
Yeah. As a Cat.
Indeed. Well, good to see you, buddy. And let me know when you're in around town, and I'll see if I can come see you. But thanks for doing this today.
Absolutely, man.